Hi, everybody. I'm meteorologist Sean Sublette from the Richmond Times-Dispatch with a weather chat for this Wednesday afternoon. Again, this Wednesday, we have special guest meteorologist Jim Duncan, retired chief meteorologist from NBC 12 here in Richmond. Hey, Jim, thanks for joining us.
John, glad to be here. Lots to talk about once again.
Again, we've got another winter storm. This one, like these last couple, they always look a little bit different. One of the things that I've noticed with this one is that the shorter term guidance, when it came in late last night, was wildly different than what we had seen in some of the medium range guidance 3, 4, 5 days prior to that. I think a lot of the fundamentals of the storm structure look to be in place, but wow, the precipitation fields are what ultimately people care about, the snow. The numbers look a lot different depending on what piece of guidance you used.
I mean, and that's that North American model, basically, we're talking about that. It's higher resolution. So, I mean, you get within that shorter time frame, less than 60 hours, which we're at 60 hours now. And you kind of can look at it with less than that grain of salt. But right now, it's so off skew versus the global models in terms of the amounts. And it's just hard to swallow it, really, at this point. Because, and we'll talk about the globals in a second, I'm sure, that, the NAM model is the way extreme in terms of totals. It's a little disheartening to see some of these model maps with that already being posted out there, but, that's the way it is. So there is lots to talk about comparing these various models, but I'm not putting a lot of faith in that one, like you said.
No, and I'm with you there. Kind of looking for something consistent in the trends as what we've seen in the ensembles, where the ensemble means have kind of been, where have all those been flying over the last 2 or 3 days. So I guess when we get into it, I'm thinking it's a Friday night, very early Saturday morning event. Maybe it goes as late as 10 or 11 o'clock Saturday morning, but it all depends on how much precip we get, right? I mean, yesterday at this time, I was imagining about an inch or so. Then you look at the guidance last night, you think, well, should I go up a little bit? Now you're looking now, I'm like, well, no, maybe an inch is good. It might not even be that. I mean, so where do you kind of see in time and space this thing playing out from the guidance that you've seen so far?
Time-wise, as you said, I think it's a Friday overnight for us, and then that runs up the coast east of New England during the day Saturday. Space-wise, I know you're doing some content for the western part of the state as well. The initial surge is very light. You see that on the models. And the QPF, the snow totals out there, does show an inch or two out in the Roanoke Valley in that area, but not directly tied with this developing system in its formative stages. So I think in terms of space, I think we're kind of caught in the middle here in central Virginia. Once again, Hampton Roads and Eastern Shore and the counties near the Chesapeake Bay, in my mind, stand the greatest chance of the higher totals. And even then, some of the models are kind of backing off a touch on that. But that would be the area with the most concern, although we'll see a little bit here too.
Yeah. And now, have you had much of a chance to peek up north, from Long Island up to New England? You've got some interest up there in the Northeast. So have you been chatting with any of your friends up there?
I've been looking at some of the models. I do have friends in Western Massachusetts, not meteorology friends, but friends that live up in the Pittsfield area. And they want some snow. You live up there, you want some snow, right? But based on I haven't talked to any of the Mets up that way. Based on what I'm seeing, Sean, it looks like even up there, it's more of the central and eastern Massachusetts and eastern Connecticut and maybe Long Island and far eastern parts of New Jersey, and Cape Cod, those areas. But you get much farther inland, maybe not so much. So I do know. I would love to be up there and watching it, but yeah, they'll be in the heart of the worst of it, I think, right along the coastal areas of New England, certainly Saturday, but again, it depends on the track. Yep.
Yeah. So coming back to Virginia, we kind of in agreement there, closer to the Chesapeake, certainly the Eastern Shore. We could be in that snow hole like we've seen so many times this month in Richmond. So could you construct a scenario you think where we could still manage 4 or 6 inches, or do you think that is becoming less and less likely?
I've been trying to do that as I looked at the upper level patterns a little bit, and that diving trough coming out of Canada, south central Canada, and it never really tilts negative. You're kind of tilting the opposite way for folks listening. That means that's where the energy is going to be focused, and that really never, on the European model, it never tilts negative. Really, actually flattens out a little bit. That 500 millibar wave flattens out over New England by Saturday. So there's the question of what's going to draw that storm more to the west, and I don't see that based on the upper level patterns. Now that short range North American model is showing that closer to the coast, so we'll see. But it would have to take a westward track to enhance our snowfall, and at this point, I don't see that as a high probability thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't put even odds on getting more than about an inch or so of snow locally, maybe not even that, but it's too early. Again, today it's still Wednesday. It's 48 hours from the onset of the precipitation. The upper level support's still in the Rockies right now. So there is still time to manage and refine the forecast, but it does look like this is probably going to be the last one. What do you think? We're going to get into at least a relatively milder pattern, maybe not as warm as we imagined it 3 or 4 days ago, but it does not look like we're going to have this consistent dip in the eastern part of the U.S. anymore.
Right. It does. And a week ago, we talked about that. We thought it'd be warming up around early February. I don't know if you follow Judah Cohen at all online, but he had an interesting observation that the polar vortex could kind of reposition and bring cold back into the eastern United States in early February. But that was a couple of days ago. And now it seems like all the models are backed away from that again. And it seems very likely that we're going to see that warm up early next week. Yeah. And how long that stays with us, that will be the question.
But it will be nice to get a break. I've been trying to get down to visit with the folks at the Wakefield office for 4 weeks now, and I have not been able to get down there. So I think we're going to try it again next week, go down Virginia Diner and hang out and visit a little bit.
Buy some Virginia peanuts while you're down there. And
absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, they've been busy too. I mean, Wakefield cranks out beautiful products. I always like to push out their information too, because if you go to their website, lots of probability graphics and all that kind of stuff. A lot of folks don't see, but yeah, they're working hard as well.
Yeah. All right. So we'll close it up here, but the general idea, keep following the storm. It's still a Friday night, Saturday thing for Central Virginia. It's probably not going to be a lot, an inch-ish or so, maybe a little more if the thing can break hard back to the west, but that's probably not going to happen, but don't give up just yet.
Exactly.
Sound good?
There's always hope. If you like snow, there's always hope.
There is not enough reason to give up hope just yet, for sure. Yeah. All right, Jim, thanks so much for joining us. All right, y'all take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.